Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the world's greatest podcast where we're going to be talking about the Masters. No, we're not going to talk about the Masters. Although, can somebody keep me posted on how Rory McIlroy is finishing at the end of the golf? Because I nearly didn't come on tonight because I was watching it. Anyway, this is the award-winning podcast, The Long Run Show. We are back in our usual settings instead of that swanky studio that we destroyed a few weeks ago. But we will be going back there, so don't worry about that. Tonight, we've got a crack team of assassins with us tonight. We've got big coach out down there.
It's been very much couch
Sorry,
out the last week or so. No, you're not far off the truth.
All right, Jim, we'll come on to that. Marissa's there. She's made it all the way back from Brighton, which is good news. I thought she was going to get arrested at one point. And Hayden, that was it. He's up there eating the heroes. Now, a question for all of you, and it is a really important question. What were they that you had left?
Oh, not a good choice. I had fudge, whisper, and double decker left. Oh,
so you've got a fudge, a whisper, or a double decker.
Yeah.
If you're tuning in live to this award-winning podcast, which one would you choose? Fudge, whisper, double decker. I personally would go whisper. Marissa, what did you say? I can't remember.
Fudge, 100%.
Al, what did you say?
Well, I'm just looking at the empties here. There's a fudge, there's a twirl, and there's a dairy milk.
Elite athletes, as always, on this channel.
They're not mine, though. I haven't touched any of them. But I would probably go for the fudge.
Oh, good boy. Why not? So tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about marathon mindset because I know the Brighton Marathon, we'll talk about it in a minute, but the Brighton Marathon was this week, just gone. This weekend, you've got Paris going on. You've got some other events coming up. Next weekend, is it next weekend? No, the weekend after. No, the weekend coming, Easter weekend. Hayden and I are in Boston and Marissa. Then we've got the London and Manchester Marathon the following week. And then obviously you've got Edinburgh and you've got other stuff. So we wanted to talk a little bit tonight about marathon mindset. Bring you into the sort of, into that sort of psyche of somebody or people here who have run multiple marathons, how to deal with it, how to get through that kind of thing, whether it's your first, second, whatever. I think we always learn from these. I learned again at the Brighton Marathon. I'll come on to that in just a bit. I do want to give a shout out to Cooper. Head over to 40runs.com/Cooper for 2 weeks trial and some 20% off there. The old Kendall boys use the code 40runs. And I do want to give everybody a heads up. If you're wanting to get faster over the summer, you make sure you join our subscriber email list because we're putting out a special offer next week, which I think will appeal to a hell of a lot of people. If you don't know what to do between marathons, or you don't know what to do after a half marathon, or I've just finished a marathon, whatever, and you want to get a little bit faster, stuff like that, make sure you're on our email subscribers because there's an offer coming out next week for something. So make sure you're on that. Right, team. So let's dive in to find out firstly how everybody's doing. I'm going to start with Marissa, who did an amazing job of supporting us, and others down at Brighton, by the way. How is your shin splint situation?
Not good. Not good.
Not good.
Still not run.
Okay.
I'm trying 5K again tomorrow, but
right.
It's not actually, the 5K last week was all right, and it's the day after. Like literally walking around Brighton was a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
And what are you doing to sort of help these shin splints?
Ice, a couple of massages. What else am I doing? Oh God, foam rolling, gun, everything.
What's the physio told you to do?
Rest and then 5K, and he's massaged them like horribly.
Nothing else.
Stretch, try and do some calf raises because they think the issues come from my calf. So, yeah.
Okay. So again, self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I won't go down that path. I feel for you. Okay, Al.
Yeah.
How have you been getting on?
Well, you were right in the introduction. I've been a bit of a couch owl for the last couple of weeks. I'm training for Copenhagen Marathon, which is the 11th. So I think that's still 4 weeks away. And up till week 9, it was going really well. As you know, Hanson playing like Wilco, spot on, slowly building up the miles. And then on one run, I should have stopped kind of 2/3 of the way through, and I didn't. And I went back out for my recovery run, and the hamstring's been complaining ever since. So I'm trying to manage load, number of days, and speed. And it's been really difficult trying to get that balance right. So the miles have dropped off, the pace has dropped off, and it's changing the mindset. It's a really good topic tonight because I've had to kind of reassess what I'm going to be able and to achieve in Copenhagen and set something that's realistic but still fun. And had a little glimpse of that at Berlin at the weekend, so we can touch on that later on. But yeah, not been great, to be honest.
Okay, I missed all of that because I lost internet connection because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if you can still hear me, but yeah, I sorry, I missed all of that because of my crappy internet, which has dropped out, and I'm not really sure why. What's going on here? But anyway, I guess can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear, we can see you.
That's perfect. So we're now onto the Wi-Fi. So what that means is anything could happen. So I'm pre-warning everybody that anything could happen with tonight's show. And that's the beauty of recording these things live. Anything can happen and probably do happen. Actually, I think, have you noticed, Hayden, when we do like a little warning before the show? Have you seen that?
Yeah, anything can happen, sort of thing. Yeah,
and it usually does. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump off, and Hayden, I want you to talk about the upcoming Boston Marathon with the guys, and I'm going to go and fix the internet.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Over to me. So Boston Marathon. So obviously Marissa's on as well tonight. So the pair of us are off out there next Friday. Good Friday, because some people always said, people do say to me, so it's on Sunday. But a lot of people won't know that Boston Marathon is actually always on a Monday. It's always on Patriots Day. So really looking forward to it. Obviously, Marissa is going out there and shin splint permitting. It's going to be running to try to get that unbelievable achievement of completing all 6 world majors and getting that 6 star. Same as Louisa, my wife. So it's going to be, and Nettie from the club is going out there as well. Not for 6 stars, but she's going out to run. So there's a few of us out there. Angus is as well. Simon Wallace. So there's going to be a few of us out there. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Done it before, and it was, the course might not be one of my favourite courses, but the actual weekend, the atmosphere is absolutely brilliant. And personally, I cannot wait. What about you, Marissa?
I'm nervous, really nervous.
Because of the injury?
Fine with the training. I was fine, and then obviously this is not ideal before my last one, but it is what it is, and I will get through it. Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Just obviously got to accept what Al's
It's not
going back
going to be very pretty at the end, is it?
It doesn't matter, does it? The end's the end. That's all the thing. Going underneath that finish line, that's going to be the thing that matters, not so much how you get there. It's just about getting to that finish line. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic time. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. So bring it on. Week before London as well. The next 3 weeks, as you said, Paris tomorrow, Boston next week, London the week after. We had Brighton last week. This is like marathon season peak. It's gone mental.
It has gone mental. I'm back, by the way.
Noticed.
That's not very nice. I think I fixed it. I don't know what's going on. Miles better, a bit laggy anyway. Anyway, again, that's what. So, did you talk about Boston? How we're gonna like smash it and how much?
I spoke about me, Marissa, Louisa. I know Simon's going. Angus are going. A few of us are going. I'm not sure if I mentioned you in it, mate.
Yeah, it's all the influencers are going there. Right. In terms of Brighton, I have to say, did you talk about that? Because I really enjoyed that. And I must give Al, you've done Brighton, haven't you?
I've not done it on the revised course. So I did it back in 2022 before they had the Brighton Ultra incident.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
and changed provider. So I still think it's a great place to run. So, yeah, course changes permitting. I'm looking forward to going back one day.
Before you go into Brighton, obviously you run it, you're going to speak about it. I know you touched on it at the start. We're saying about Marissa with the support, and Marissa was in charge of the support and getting the station there. It was absolutely fantastic. But the volunteering, we all know of volunteers, especially ones in the club, they're absolutely unbelievable, giving up their time for free. But I didn't quite realise until last night when I spoke to Mel, who heads up a lot of the volunteering for the club. Do you know what time she finished Brighton Marathon when she had to leave her duty?
They were late.
7 o'clock at night when the last person went across the line. She got down to Brighton. She left for Brighton at about 5:15 in the morning, and she was still there doing that volunteering job at 7 o'clock at night. So honestly, these people forget people that are running 2 hours, 10 minutes, and also people that are there volunteering, giving up all that time. Honestly, just can't thank them. Not absolutely
and I have to say that was noticed by people, because I've received emails from London Marathon events and etc. with regards to our amazing volunteers, and I do think it's worth again highlighting that as a club, it's one of the proudest things we do. I would say that I think it's just so incredible that people feel compelled to give back to running. And again, it goes back to that thing is you don't have to run to be a part of the club. You can still do things like this, and opportunities like that are regularly coming as the clubs become now the biggest. So they're just amazing people, and it was just incredible to see him when you come through to be handed your t-shirt, medal sometimes, or whatever it is, just to see a friendly face. It's amazing, and it's a beautiful thing. So a massive shout out to Mel and everybody, Carolyn as well, and everybody who does all the volunteering for the club. It's truly inspiring, to be honest with you. We get such lovely feedback from from some race organisers. We don't talk about them. Actually, I do want to point about to Hayden. You just remind me why we're doing club business, because then we'll move on. Renewals, affiliated runners. If you've not renewed your affiliated membership, you need to do it now. If you're wanting to become affiliated because you want to be part of 40 Runs, you don't have to be affiliated to be part of us. We can join for free. But if you do want that, we are cheaper than England Athletics. You get more benefits being part of us than you do England Athletics. So go over to 40runs.com and do that now. Big shout out to our membership team, because they are like swamped at the moment. The numbers that people are joining are incredible. So keep telling everybody about the club. So keep doing that.
More work.
Yeah, 50 plus satellites across the country. There's so many benefits.
Do you know it's actually free to be affiliated to 40 Runs.
Yeah,
it's actually free. It's if you're going to spend 200 quid on a pair of trainers, or 2 pairs or 3 pairs of trainers throughout the year, it becomes free. Because once you become affiliated, you're going to get your 10 and 15% 15% off sportshoes.com with your affiliation. So you buy a pair of trainers, 200 quid straight away. There you go. You've got your 20 quid back free.
Yeah, so
it's a no-brainer.
So technically, it's free.
It's
so
free.
There you go. It's new. We're going to put that on the website. Technically, it's free if you're affiliated, because you get 15% off. It's true though. I got a pair of shoes the other day that I wanted, and they were come down, and they were like 160 quid. I got for like 130 quid. It's like whatever. It's just crazy. So you get that money back straight away. So make sure again. If you're into your shoes, join 40 Runs as affiliate just to get cheap shoes at sportshoes.com. Right, come on, let's stop pushing out. So I do want to talk about Brighton a little bit, because I have to say, right, I've poo-pooed it for many years, Brighton Marathon. And let us know in the comments if you was at Brighton. I poo-pooed it for many years. As you say, Al, it's been a bit of a shit show, basically, for multiple years. They went bust for whatever reason. There was a big problem around the people who ran it, and it was just a bit of a mess. The course was terrible because you ran around some industrial estate, and it was just a bit of a cock up, really, the whole thing. And then what was it? 2020. Well, basically COVID, wasn't it? London Marathon Events got hold of it. Hayden, was that right? Was that what you said?
I think they've had it. I think it's only been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think that one that Al was talking about, that
was the last one, wasn't it?
That was the last one, Limelight.
And then they went they went belly up, and London Marathon Events stepped in to effectively save it. And what they've done, I have to give them credit, because what they've done is, and you can see it going, they've created an event, and a marathon event, that I think is really, really inclusive. Like, it just felt like, it felt a little bit like London Landmarks, the half marathon you did. To give it that much praise, because I think that's, and we'll come on to it, I think that's a brilliant half marathon in terms of money for charity, inclusivity, everybody, the whole thing, the waves, the noise. And I think London Marathon have worked really hard to make that feel like that. And I'd be interested to know, actually, if anybody else felt the same. Marissa, someone who was spectating, it just felt quite like there was a real eclectic mix of runners. It was all abilities. You had the fast guys, but you obviously had, your back of the pack runners. They were well supported. There was plenty of water out there on a hot day. It was well supported all the way through.
The route was amazing. Absolutely amazing. All round the course.
Yeah, the route was challenging.
Apart from up the hill, apparently.
Yeah, but that's fine. But the route was challenging, which, again, it's not the end of the world. If they'd be boring if they're all flat. So I think that was good. Yeah, there was some out and backs and stuff like that. But you know what? I just thought it was really, really well organised, really good. I just wanted to give them a bit of love, because I thought they did a cracking job. And there was all those, everyone was getting their knickers in the twist. Obviously, I came out, told everyone to calm down. Everyone had medals. Everyone had
Everyone
T-shirts.
got medals.
Yeah, of course they was going to. Like I said in, the release that I put out, everyone was always going to get one. But I don't know, like even in the finishers village, like the Brooks team were there. There was like all these food things going on. Like, don't get that at the London Marathon. Everyone finishes and they bugger off to the pub or whatever. There was like a whole thing going on down on the beach. I know it was a lovely day, but I don't know. It was just, I don't know. Hayden, you was there on the Saturday. Was you getting sort of race day vibes and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And I've got to be honest, I'm in your camp. I haven't done Brighton, but I have changed a little bit. I've always been one of them people who Brighton doesn't appeal to me at all. I think they had about 3 years in a row. They had the one where it went a little bit longer, at 26.5 miles. Yeah, 1 year where you had to do your bag. You had to pick your bib up the day before. Had to pick it up there.
Yeah.
Remember that one? One time you had to do the bag drop the day before. And every year there seems to be an issue with Brighton.
Yeah.
And as you said, London Marathon events have come in and they've shown what they're experts. This is what they do. And I must be honest, being down there, that we was helping out at the kids one, the kids mile race in the park and the park run. There was definitely a good vibe about it. Brighton's always got that funky, eclectic vibe anyway. But definitely had a good vibe about it. I must be honest, in the past, I've always said it's not one that I really fancy. I wouldn't do at all. But if I wasn't outside of London, for me in the UK, I think you said it on Monday night. Some American was asking you about it, what marathons to do in the UK.
Yeah.
Outside of London, Brighton's put itself right in the mix with Manchester there, definitely.
But here's the
The
question.
support is like London.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's definitely really good.
I'll tell you now, right? We came down, I think it was like mile 17. Yeah, about 17. You go past the pier, basically.
Yeah.
And you know that stretch up to that 360 thing. Do you know the bit I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, it was like not like Tower like Bridge in terms of complete nuts, but it weren't far off. It was so good. Was it like that a few years ago?
I've always, as I said, I've only run the Brighton Marathon once, but I've done the half, I think 4 or 5 times, and Brighton always brings the crowds out, regardless of the weather. We've had it when it's been really windy. We've had it when it's really hot, and the crowds I think it's just because it's a seaside opportunity, isn't it? So the crowds come out, they are, they're good crowds. They know what to do, and they really kind of motivate you to get round, whether you're doing the half or the full. So I always look forward to when the Brighton race is released, because it's one of those kind of, let's try and prioritise at least one of those races.
I think what Ben said, Big Ben, and well done, Bread Boy, on your PB. I think what he said, the way he said it was about the out and backs. What I liked about them was, and it was actually very similar to, not very similar, but it made me think in terms of a positive way. You kept seeing loads of runners all the time. So I was running like on this hill section thing at like mile 10 or 11, which was just like whatever. But I was running down the middle because I was looking at everybody coming up, and I just kept seeing all my mates coming towards me. It was so good. Just kept, all right, all the way. All right, we're lucky as a club. Again, and that's one of the reasons why to be part of us. But I recognised so many people, and it was like you went out to like the furthest point to come back to like halfway into the main town. And that whole like section of like 5 miles, I was basically just saying hello to my mates. It was so good, right? Again, we're lucky because, club members and whatever, right? And people from the community, you get to see them. But I really like that, the out and back set, that part, because you got to see so many of your mates. That's brilliant. But here's my question. While I've still got internet, do you think, Al, I'm looking at you for this one. Do you think the Manchester Marathon should move to a September/October slot? Because there isn't, there isn't, and I'm going to get crucified for this. I don't think there's a premier UK marathon in the autumn that we can all jump on board. We all, go here, there, and everywhere or whatever. And I'm not just talking about marathons, but we've got Great North Run and stuff like that, right? So again, we're always talking about everybody. But in terms of people who like to do marathons or want to achieve the marathon, I just feel like Manchester's missing a trick by not picking up the Manchester Marathon, which is a brilliant event. I've seen it firsthand again. Have some of that in October, September. Al, go.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about the lack of UK autumn marathons. We tend to think of Berlin, think of Chicago, we think of New York and the majors, and you go, actually you can't replicate that in the UK. And I've run Manchester as well, again on the old course, so I can't comment on what they've done to change the route into the city centre. But I think it'll be interesting to see what impact it has of running the same day as London. So if you're running and you can't get into London, clearly there's an opportunity for you to test yourself on race day with London and feel part of it. But will you feel part of it? Because the focus will be on London, inevitably. It's such a big event. So it will be interesting to get the feedback. Because I know there's a lot of 40 runners going to do Manchester, what they feel, particularly if they've run it previous years when it's been a couple of weeks either side of London. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting.
How do you feel about my
Honestly, you saw
Brilliant
I clapped it. I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. And I just want to ask you, actually, Chris, because I know you've done it. When's Manchester half?
So that's what I'm saying to you. It's then.
That's in the autumn. Why not switch them?
That's what I'm saying to you.
Why not have the half? I have the half.
Yeah,
If you have the half the same time as London, as you're talking about different sets of runners. So with the like a half marathon up to Manchester, the full marathon.
Honestly, I just think
makes sense.
And I will, because you know me, I will tell them. Once they've got this one out of the way, I genuinely think that they need to move it. I think they could really make that. I mean, it's a premium event anyway. Or it's got to get it that way, yeah. But I think that could be a real dovetail, bookmarking with Brighton, Newport, and all the other ones that are going on Edinburgh around the country.
You're getting a hammer.
I know you're about Yorkshire.
Especially the fact you've run it as well.
I run Yorkshire. No, I just think. I think it would. I think it would be brilliant. I really do. They're really trying to move that in the right direction, and I just think it would be awesome. I just really think it would be great to have that put there. Talking about the comments, I'm getting hammered about that, which is good news. What else have we got?
It shows people are listening, doesn't it? At least.
yeah, I like it. Hammer me away. You crack on. Oh, my internet will miraculously drop out again.
and as you said, it is good that people are commenting saying about Yorkshire being in the autumn as well, and it is. And I think someone else has come. I think that's Kim. She said about Richmond, Loch Ness. Yeah, the naming very sporadic, very few. Whereas at the moment, just this month, we just rounded them off, didn't we? With London, Boston, Manchester, Brighton, Paris, Ibiza. You got Boston, UK at the moment this weekend. They're just so. And I know predominantly, traditionally, it's always been because people have always trained, haven't they, in the colder months, and people have never really wanted to train as much in these summer months because they say it's too hot and stuff. But I think the tide's changing with that a bit, with your Berlin, your Chicago, your New York. That summer block of training, Amsterdam, is becoming just as big.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I was looking at Amsterdam for next year, but if Manchester was then, I'd go to Manchester because it's a home track. So I think I don't think I'll get anywhere with it, but I'm going to try. I want to try my little art out to get on. Interesting question. Luke is running the Newport Marathon, and he said, where was it? Can you give me one tip he wouldn't have heard yet? He loves the channel, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. So, Marissa, I'm coming to you first. Give Luke one marathon tip for running Newport this weekend that he wouldn't have heard yet.
Don't drink too much the night before. There you go.
Okay, let's see. Luke, let us know if you've heard that one. Al?
I don't know if Kipchoge watches and listens to this podcast. So
one of the 1 million that downloads it weekly.
You may have heard this one before, but there is a lot of science behind the fact that if you smile, it hurts less. So that's what Kipchoge goes on. Even when it's absolutely killing you, just keep smiling, and your brain kind of just converts that into a little less pain. So stick the smile on. Okay.
Hayden?
I would say instead of, with regards to pacing, a lot of people will go every mile or every kilometre and they're looking at that pace, trying to hold it. Shorten that down, make it easier. If you're going to go kilometres, just maybe have written on your arm your 5K, your 10K, your half, and your 32K. Just the 4 or 5 distances, just them ones, not every mile with all the big sheets and that. And just know you've got to hit them. So if it gives you a bit more time, a bit more spread, rather than stressing about 2 or 3 seconds in that kilometre, over, under, and using all extra brain space. Do it every 5K or every 4 miles, 5 miles.
I would say listen to my 20-mile podcast at 20 miles. There you go.
I bet he's heard that before.
I don't think so. I think so. He would, otherwise, he would have slated it in the comments. So it's true, though, isn't it? It is true. Right. Okay. So is it me or is it getting dark in here? I think it's getting dark in here, isn't it? Right. Lastly, because I do want to get on to mindset, Hayden, briefly talk about London landmarks, which got massively overshadowed, I felt, by Brighton. I might be wrong because I did Brighton, but it just felt like, and I love London landmarks. I think it's one of the best half marathons you can do. Raises a truckload of money for charity, which I think is amazing. And I really hope I can get back there next year. What was your thoughts on that while I turn the light on?
I'll be honest with you. I actually think it's probably one of my favourite halves. One of the favourite best halves I've done for quite a long time. I have done landmarks before, but this year just felt a bit different. I don't know. I took it in more this year, and I don't. As you said, it did get overlooked a little bit. And I think obviously Brighton has just got the prominence of Brighton with London Marathon events has just gone through the roof. So it felt landmarks did. And I'm saying to you, Chris, as well. This time there wasn't as many. And this shows how important the charity was. There wasn't as many club runners. I didn't see people like the 40 runs running club tops on. I didn't see the Serpentine runners, the Fulham runners. I just saw Tommy's, prostate cancer, mouth cancer. It was the charity element to this was absolutely off the scale. And people say about the crowds in Brighton, yeah, from what I could see from all the footage, it looked brilliant. Tell you what, the crowds in London landmarks, they absolutely came out and they dressed up, they whistled, they had horns. I just literally, I smiled every single solitary kilometre of that race. There wasn't one part of that race on Sunday where I thought, this is tough. Or
how did you find it running the course in reverse? Because they tried that this year, didn't they?
Yeah, I must be honest, it didn't make that much of a difference. The finish line's a lot better. So that traditional finish line on Whitehall up by Downing Street, which you get on the Essex 10K as well, it's a little bit underwhelming. So this time that finish line that in Trafalgar Square, that was good. That was a big sort of like people each side of it. That made a difference. That was great. But starting down in Whitehall is fair walk from the bag drop. But again, that's quite a nice start. So when you start, you immediately turn left, go to Westminster Bridge, and you've got Big Ben. So they're talking about landmarks. Straight away, you've got the House of Parliament straight in front of you. Straight over the bridge, you've got London Eye straight away. So you're getting that London buzz straight away. I honestly would say, and this is no just going over the top of it, that Great North Run's got a great atmosphere, but that landmarks, that is one of the best half marathons I've ever run. I absolutely
it's fantastic. Honestly, it's an absolute cracker. And as I said, I've been lucky enough to run it every year, other than obviously COVID and stuff. I genuinely think it's one of the best half marathons out there. It raises so much money for charity as well, and all sorts of charities. And I think actually, Hayden, what your point about the tops, I think it's brilliant that people are out there raising awareness. I always have said it. Firstly, obviously, we don't care if you wear a top or not. But more, secondly, if you got the opportunity to wear a charity top instead of a 40 runs top, wear the charity top. 100% wear the charity top every day of the week, because raising that awareness can be critical. So I think it's a fantastic event. I hope that it doesn't clash with anything next year, so it can get the plaudits that it truly deserves, because it's.
Although I know what Al's thinking. Al's sitting there, he's biting his lip, because I know this is one of Al's biggest things. Al is not a lover, not of the race. The thing that really gripes Al, I know he's going to say, it's the price. But I think I've got a theory about this. I think they've cut back on the general entry places to give more to the charity places, which in a way that's a good thing. So because there's less places, I think that's why the cost has gone up, Al.
Correct.
I was actually going to complain about you go left, then you go right, then you go right, then you go left, then you go left, then you go right.
I've not done that one yet.
You need to know. You need to do the knowledge to get your way around London landmarks at some point. But
it is a
bit
minor
like that. Complaint. Yeah.
No, it is a bit like that. But I really enjoy it. Although I'm glad I didn't do it this year in some respects, because I think I'd have confused the hell out of me. I remember the year I ran it with Mark, and it was like, right, left here, mate, left, right there, and he was just like, what's going on? And I was like guiding him all the way around it. It's just say how it's like the knowledge. By the way, if you've not seen that on Instagram, because that's coming out next week, I'll give that a plug actually, Hayden. On my Instagram feed, I think it's on the YouTube channel as well, we've put out the shorts of my London Marathon route rundown. If you've not seen that, go over to 40 _runs on Instagram. Look under my reels and you'll see it, where I basically will just run through the London Marathon route. So go over there, tag somebody who's running the London Marathon, maybe for the first time, whatever, and make sure you get them to check that out, because that's useful. But the podcast Marathon Talk, where we talk about London Marathon, is out next week, because we're not here again because of Easter and all these races, because I say most of us are in Boston. and then we've got Easter as well. We've done another pre-record, so we'll be back the following week, the Friday before the London Marathon. So anybody again who knows running London Marathon has got any last-minute jitters, then get them to tune in next week, and we'll not next week, the week after. I can't do that because we're in America, but because we'll help them out and answer those questions as well. I don't know who's on the show, but we'll figure that out. Right, I want to get into this marathon mindset again while I've still got internet. And again, this is the sort of thing that came to me while I was at mile 16 in the Brighton Marathon, because it does go through your thought process of when you're out there. You 1 minute you're all right, next minute you're struggling, next minute you're thinking about you need a wee, then you're thinking about this, then you're getting totally in your own head. Oh, I'm going to walk in a minute. No, I'm not going to walk. I'm going to go faster. No, I've got to slow down. Oh, I'm going to see so-and-so. No, I'm not going to see so-and-so. And you get yourself, your knickers in a right old twist, right? And I think if you can have, or you can learn anything from us as people who've run multiple marathons, it is to have, if you have a strong marathon mindset, it can make a huge difference. And I'm not just talking like, a little bit. I'm talking like, you can start running faster times. You can finish without, like, I don't know, if your goal is to do it without walking, as though there's nothing wrong with walking or whatever it is, yeah. Having the right sort of marathon mindset can be a game changer. Now, if I could take anything from Hayden, okay, it wouldn't be his size, obviously, or the fact that he lives in Middle Earth, but it would be some of his marathon mindset, because he has got a mindset that just adapts well for that long distance running. And I had the pleasure of running London with him last year, and he was shouting at me at mile 21 because I stopped, and he called me all sorts of horrible names.
You're such a liar.
You did call me all sorts of names. You did.
I didn't.
And all I was doing, to be fair, all I was actually doing was getting my Spotify on.
I think you had a stone in your shoe or something. No, the laces.
No, it was the laces.
laces
It was the laces in the Pro 3, but then I pushed Spotify. Anyway, he called me all sorts of names.
No.
But anyway, one thing I would take from him is his mindset when it comes to marathons. Ben's the same. Ben's a bit like that. They could just get into this mindset where they just go hard and they can just get into it. Now, I usually just sort of tremble at the knees and sort of fade away. So how, in terms of before I get into some sort of deeper in it, Hayden, is that just something you've always had, or is that something you've developed?
Do you know, I think a big thing of it, I'm not saying you haven't got this, but a big thing for me of it is that I absolutely love the distance and I love the race. And I think that makes a big difference. I don't think I've gone to a marathon yet where I felt nervous. And I think that really helps. I'm always feeling positive. I'm always thinking, I can't wait to get, rather than thinking to myself, I'm going to go and run the New York Marathon and thinking, oh my God, 26 miles. What if I can't do this pace? What if I can't? I'm thinking to myself, well, look around. I am in New York and I'm running one of the biggest marathons in the world. I'm so lucky to be able to do this. And I think that mindset really helps. I think what Al said early on about smiling, that's a massive, massive thing. You've always got, with mindset, you're always talking about tricking your brain. You're fighting with your thoughts, like you said earlier. And whether you believe it or not, if you're smiling, if you feel happy, you're telling yourself you're happy, just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. And honestly, that protrudes out. For me, literally, it's just positivity and the fact, and I really do put a lot of it down to the fact that I'm weird. I absolutely love the challenge of running a marathon.
Al, anything to add to that?
Well, I suppose there's two things that, in terms of things I do, I think they both come down to a little bit of distraction. So it's not quite the same as Hayden. I still love the race, and you have that moment where you go, I am lucky to be able to kind of compete at whatever race, wherever you are, whether it's local or international. But for me, it's the distraction. So Hayden said earlier on about his tip is to, not focus about pace and only have 4 or 5 times when you're kind of checking in. I actually do the opposite. I've kind of switched between running to miles and running to kilometers. And particularly when you run abroad, I find running to the kilometer markers better. Actually, if you run to both, about every 2-3 minutes, you're ticking a little bit closer to the finish line. So you've got 26 mile markers and 42 kilometer markers. And it's like, you're constantly going, yeah, I've just ticked one off. I've just ticked another one off. So it's breaking, in effect, that race down into little chunks of 1% and just going, I'm 1% closer. I'm 1% closer. And they come along really frequently when you've kind of got so many of them. Whereas 26, you might be 10, 12, 14 minutes between that opportunity. So for me, little and often kind of really helps me.
That's interesting because this is all around. Thank you, Big Ben. This is all around. Sort of one of the points I wanted to talk about was sort of building that mental resilience, which is, I think, what you're alluding to. Now, Marissa, you're a little bit on the other end of the scale to Hayden in terms of anxiety and getting yourself a bit worked up about the marathon, aren't you? On the mental side.
Yeah, we all know I am.
But how do you overcome that?
I just get on with it, I think. I don't think I really overcome it. I think Chicago was probably my better one. I was feeling not as ill as I sometimes get myself. To be honest, I'm not that worried about the actual distance in Boston. I'm more worried about my legs, but actually running the marathon, I know I can do it. So it's just how much it's actually going to hurt. So I think maybe I've tricked myself into knowing I can do it quite easily, but it's whether it's going to hurt too much.
Yeah, I mean that's really a little bit different because of where you're in injury. But I think in terms of the mental side, that again,
I used to just get myself in such a state.
I know, but you've
got
built
much
that
better.
mental resilience, haven't you? Because you've done it so many times now. And again, I think that comes back to people with experience. Experience always wins with marathons, and this is why I always say, the more you do of them, even the more training blocks you do, right, the better you become at the marathon distance. It's so hard to get it right. You may get it right maybe once, twice, if you're lucky, like properly. And that's the time that you'll achieve whatever you want to achieve. But other than that, it's bloody hard and it's intimidating, and you're learning about yourself the whole time. It'll always get shown up at some point. Your lack of training, your lack of this, your lack of that. Because it's a marathon, it's there to kick you in the nuts. But it's a beautiful thing when it all comes together. That's
Even
why
New York. I loved New York.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And that's one of the hardest ones, but I love New York. And I don't think I was in that much of a state before, actually. But I maybe as well, because I'm slower, knowing there's longer cutoffs. So maybe not picking marathons that are like strict 6-hour cutoffs and, you won't be finishing like Tokyo. And maybe the longer marathons. So I think New York's like 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Like London.
Yeah, it relaxes someone a little bit when you know you're about 6 hours.
One of the things I did write down in terms of the marathon mindset was setting yourself clear and precise goals for the race to get through it. I think some people go into it and they're like, I'm going to do this, or I might do that. Or I think in terms of sharpening that marathon mindset, you 100% need to get into that race pen wave, whatever you're in, and know exactly what you're going to do when you cross that line and at certain points throughout the race. That will sharpen the mind, but it'll also keep you sort of in the race as well. And I'll give you an example. So I was running, for me, Brighton was a long run, right? Very lucky that I'm able to go out and do these things as long runs. Yeah, I appreciate that. But it was a training run for me. And I wanted to run it easy because I've got London in a couple of weeks and I just wanted to get the distance done through my legs, right? But at the same time, my goal when I started that, when I crossed the line, was to run easy, run 9-minute mile splits, there or thereabouts, and pretty much get to halfway on point and the distances that I wanted to know. I had that absolutely clear. But when I came down to mile 16, obviously it was a bloody hot day, the pace started to drift out a little bit. I was getting a little bit bored. My mate had left me because he thought he was going to win it. Watch the video if you've not seen the video. But so I was just out there ticking over, but I could feel like the pace was slipping and the energy was slipping and the sort of thing. And I gave myself a bit of a talking to, and I was like, no, your goal today was to run 9-minute mile splits to bang, 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 bang. and so I had to pick up the pace, and that it was slipping out to 9:30 because I was just getting a bit lazy, and I got back on point. But because I'd had that clear goals in mind within it, and again, I wasn't looking to run a time or anything like that, but my goal was, as I said to you, to run pretty even splits all the way through it and be consistent and all that. I had the strong mental toughness to actually pick the pace up at mile 16, 17, small, to get me back in, and it actually sharpened me back up again. Because then when I went up, it was like this little hill thing round to 18, whatever, and I was like, right, I'm going to start picking this up again now. And then I bumped into my mate who was walking. But the point is that I'd set those clear goals before I started. So I would say the same to all of you who's going on this adventure. And I don't know when you're listening to this, but when you cross that line, for Christ's sake, know what you're going out there to do. And it could just be to finish, but how are you going to finish? How are you going to get to that finish line? What are you going to do in between the start line and the finish line to get you there? Right? Now, whatever that looks like, you need to know it. Don't be winging it, people. Because if you wing it, you end up walking at 16.5 miles with blisters. And I know somebody who did that. So, then the other thing I want to say, so that's a little bit, I think I touched a little bit on pace. I think pace, obviously, is important. We'll touch in terms of pace when you're running something on the mental side of things, like I just alluded to there, about having control over your pace. Is it something you're conscious of through the race?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because pace dictates how you perform on the day, well, your end goal in terms of, and I suppose it comes down to how tough you are on yourself in terms of what your expectations are. You know, the cliche is, if it's your first marathon, please don't, add to that anxiety by setting too much of a rigid outcome in terms of what time you're going for, because then it will start to play with your mind. Because as you said, your example there, Chris, was you had a good start, you had a little wobble, and you had to get back on again. And if you haven't got that experience, that's really tough to do mentally. I can equate to that to what I did in Berlin this weekend. It was an easy run. It was 13 miles, but at mile 9, my hamstrings. And rather than fight with myself, which I did for 2K, I actually stopped 5 minutes, took both my shoes off, kind of literally just had a physical and mental reset, and then said, right, next 5K, I'm just going to enjoy the crowd. And that was about changing my goal mid-race because it wasn't working the way I had. So it's about also having a bit of flexibility and having that plan B and plan C, which we often talk about as well. Don't just go in with a plan A. Have a gold medal, a silver medal, and a bronze medal as your outcomes, and then you can't not win then, because hopefully it is getting to the finish is your C race.
I think I've got sort of a caveat almost, like when you asked me before, Chris, and you said about how do I get the mindset, because I enjoy them so much. So the caveat to that is that I haven't really, if I'm honest, I've run 14 marathons now. At 3 of them, 2, maybe 3 of them, I've gone out for it and I've had a target in mind. 2 of them worked out, 1 of them blew up. The other 10 or 11, I must be honest, I haven't pushed myself. So maybe from that perspective, that is why I enjoy them so much. Maybe that's why I've got the mental mindset, because I know at the start, I'm not going out for a PB. I'm not going out till I don't want to feel crap at the end. And I have taken it easy a little bit. That's making me sound a bit conceited. It's not that at all. It's not taking it easy, but running at a pace that I know is not going to make me feel that feeling. There's a lot of you guys are getting, like maybe you get when you're at London last year, getting towards the end, that feeling. I haven't wanted that feeling for a long time. So 11 of my 14 marathons, I've run at a pace I know I can go across the finish line and still be smiling, still be laughing, still be having fun. And there's still good times, but that is a bit from myself. That's almost like backing away and being a bit scared. I don't challenge myself enough. And that's always been one of my biggest criticisms, without a doubt, on myself.
Well, the coaching angle on that is about negative splitting, isn't it? Go out, run within yourself, see how you are at 16 miles, see where you're at 20 miles. And if you've still got a bit left, then you can put the pedal down a little bit and see what you can. And if you haven't, then
I always worry with that, Al. I'm with you, but I always worry about that. I always get myself into a situation in my own brain, and again, a lot of it's to do with the way I'm wired. But it's like, I'll push now, but what happens if I can only push for 3 miles? I've still got 3 miles left, and I'm like broken. and I can't do it, and it's just constantly, you know what I mean, just going spinning up. And yet, I remember that year that I ran whatever it was, 340, whatever it was at London. I could 100% have gone a lot faster than that. But I was telling myself all the way down the embankment, oh no, you better slow down because otherwise you're going to have to walk in a minute. There's no way. There was absolutely no reason. There was no reason for me to walk at all. I didn't, but I kept, oh no, keep it back a bit just in case. This bloody big bed in front of me. And I'm still telling myself, and I know that course like the back of my hand, as you all know, and I'm still telling myself not to go for it because there's that fear of breaking down on course. I don't know why I fear. I've done it so many times that I've hit the wall on the course. So I don't know why I'm fearing because I've done it so many times. But you can't help yourself. And that's where it goes back to the point about the mindset, is that you have to train it, yeah? And I think actually, Hayden, to go back to your point, I believe that doing those runs that you mentioned actually give you confidence and the mindset to be able to then, on the day that everything's feeling good, to go for it. Because if you either go one way, like, oh, PB, or you go the other way, keep hitting the wall, and I hate this, you don't get experience, but you don't learn anything because you're either in one camp or the other. And so what happens is you'll go out and you'll PB and you'll be like a hero, and then you'll go and try and do it again, and bang, you'll hit the wall, and then you go, well, that was just stupid, that was a one-off, and then you'll go bang and hit the wall again because you tried it again. By doing what you've just said, Hayden, by collectively going out there and running pretty much within yourself, it's still a marathon, still got to respect the distance, you gain confidence. And I think that's where your mindsets come from, because you understand what you need to do to get round, and then you know the times when to go for it. And that's the key, I think, to the mindset, the marathon mindset, is understanding yourself as a runner, respecting the distance, and knowing when to do what.
So my when you do the majors, you get from Abbott, you get an average of all your times, and it tells you all the times for all of them. And every time you beat your time, it updates it. And my times for all of them literally are, I think I've got like, they're all within about 6 minutes of each other, from like 3:27, 3:25, 3:30, 3:31, 3:32. They're all literally so close to each other because I know that is that range, exactly what you just said. I can run at, and it's not comfortable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm comfortable. I can go.
No, I know that.
But it's a pace. I know I'm not going to think at 20 miles. I'm going to be in trouble if I keep up this pace. I think I'm happy at this pace. Whereas Berlin, to be fair, last September, I did try to go outside my zone, and I did push it, and I did come away with a good time. I think it's my second or third fastest marathon I've ever run, and I did give it a go. I didn't blow up. I didn't perform as well as I would have, and I didn't cross that finish line feeling the same way as I had before. But it wasn't too disastrous. But it's not as though I never give it a go. But I think you bang on what you said. I've got to that zone where I know I can do that. I know I'm comfortable there, so I enjoy it. So the mindset becomes stronger.
So my point is for all of you, really, and I appreciate there's been a lot of questions, coaching questions, actually. What I would say is, because we're running out of time, join me on a Monday at 8 o'clock. Yeah, on the live stream. We do another live stream, which goes out as a podcast. Join me at 8 o'clock, and I'll answer those questions. Come back, and I'll make sure I answer them. Yeah, because we talk about shoes, obviously, but I also answer a lot of coaching questions now on a Monday night. So if you've got anything specific, like someone's asking about DOMs, someone's asking about London Marathon, there's a few other bits, make sure you come over on a Monday, and I'll definitely answer them. So I just want to leave you one thing. The other thing I wanted to say about this mental thing, resilience in the marathon, is to celebrate, and this is the one, is to celebrate the small wins within the race, right? This is honestly a game changer. Who was it who was asking about the tip? Whoever that was, this is actually the one. It's to celebrate those small wins. Now, that can be very different for each runner. It could be the fact that you've got to 5K and you ain't walked. That could be that you got to 5K and you did your run walk strategy bang on. It could be that you got to halfway at, I don't know, 2:56 and you wanted to be there at 2:57. So that's a small win. Or it could be that you nailed your fueling. Whatever it is, again, now going back to my point about having clear goals for within the race, but I want you to celebrate them as you go through it. So like when I did Brighton, I was like, I say it on the video about my pacing. I make a comment, if you do realise, and that obviously none of it's like flashy edited or anything like that. I make a comment to camera about me being a hero because of my pacing. It's true. Yeah, because I was really pleasing myself that I got to halfway and my pacing was on point, despite all those up and downs that the buggers have put in. I managed to basically, I went through there 158 and something, and I was on point. That was a win for me. I got down at mile 16. Yeah, I had to give myself a bit of a kick up the bum. But I was like, right, I'm down at mile 16 now. And I like getting to mile 16 in the marathon because I think, right, I've got 10 left. I've just got to get the 20. And then I thought, we got the 20. I picked Spico up and we got the 20. Another win. Got down to the seafront. Celebrate. We're nearly home. They're the sort of things, yeah, that bring me resilience in the marathon. And that's why I know the London course so well, because I'm thinking of the little wins. Oh, I've got to so-and-so. I've got to so-and-so. That's a win for me. So whatever it is, that could be, I don't know, you have a pack of Haribo at mile 6 to reward yourself, or whatever you want to do. Whatever those wins are, yeah, celebrate them on the way around. It's really, really important. And that will help you. And like Al, you said about the smiling, smile to yourself and go, I'm a bit of a legend. I just did X, Y, and Z. Or, I just absolutely smashed that, and smile that you just achieved whatever that was. But know again what they are. And it could be that you just saw somebody that you know, or whether it's a supporter or whatever. But celebrate those wins as you go round. Right. I'm going to leave it there. I think that's been brilliant, actually, to be honest with you, in terms of the mindset. And I want to wish everybody luck. I know we've got a lot of people out in Paris this weekend, doing stuff out there. Marissa, Paris Marathon, something you fancy doing?
The medal's tiny. No,
it's got better. It has got better. It's got. I agree with you.
Well, maybe. No, I want to do Seville, I think.
Why?
Because it looks really good. I'd like to do Rome as well, actually. Rome and Seville.
Back to back?
No. Who does that?
I don't know. Ben, probably.
Yeah.
Al, what are you up to this weekend? Where are you park running across the globe?
Oh, well, I'm not in departures so it feels a bit weird.
I mentioned it, bruv.
I haven't had a chance to go through duty free and kind of pick up all my bargains. I'm actually going across the border, but only as far as Norfolk.
Okay.
So there's a new park run opened up in Norwich. So we're venturing not too far away, just to kind of have a little look.
What's that? A traily one, or is it a
It's I think it's mainly grass. It's 3 laps, and it feels like it's round local playing fields. So yeah.
Gets people out, doesn't it? So
absolutely,
that's the most important thing. And Hayden, what are you? Because as I said, we've got Boston. So what are you? Anybody's got that coming up? What are you running this weekend? Are you?
Well, tomorrow. I've actually got a bloody work, so I don't think I'll be doing anything tomorrow parkrun wise, unless I get into work and there's nothing to do. Then I might sneak out. But no, it doesn't look good tomorrow. Monday, Sunday. So for me, always week before marathon, I'll always do a 10 miler, 16k. With a bit of target pace. I don't know. I've always on that taper. People always said to me, "What do you do on taper?" Mine's always 2 weeks out, half marathon, 1 week out. That's 10 miler, 16k. It's just something I've done for every single marathon, and as you alluded to before, seems to have worked. So why change?
And you said you're chucking some pace in there.
No, we've talked about this before. So Boston this time, I'm actually going to run with my wife
and
you. Yeah, so it'd be a little bit slower pace because you're joining us. But so this time training at a pace has been a little bit different for me. The whole plan's been a little bit different. I've got this injury in my back, so I'm not sure. I might do a little bit of sort of my target pace for later on in the year on different marathon just to keep the fitness up. But predominantly it'd be easy on Sunday.
What's the weather looking like? Anyone know?
Crap.
I
think tomorrow's nice. Oh, Boston's looking bad as well. The week after, yeah, not good at all.
Is the weather on Sunday looking bad?
Yep, tomorrow's good. Sunday bad, I think.
I'm doing my long run Sunday. That's annoying.
What long run? So you're 2 weeks out. So what would you do 2 weeks out? What are you doing?
I've had to sort of rein it in a bit this week because a friend of mine decided that we'd just end up walking for about 10 miles on Brighton. My recovery's been a lot quicker than it probably would have been. But although I have really listened to my body this week, I took my shoes in to run today, but I didn't. I was like, actually, I don't need to. I wanted to run, which is always a good sign for me, mainly because I've got so much going on in my brain. I needed to run, but then I thought to myself, actually, no. Firstly, I can get a lot more stuff that I need to do done, but also I do need to protect my legs a little bit and give them, because I've got 13. I've got a half marathon on Sunday. I'm not a race, but I want to get 13.1. I want to get some marathon goal pace through my legs on a longer run. Nothing crazy, but I wouldn't mind getting that done. A little bit of goal pace through my legs. So that'd be 13. And then next week, again, I'll probably try and hit about 20, 25 miles, something like that. My peak mileage this time was lower than it has been, but my peak mileage week was 51, I think, miles. I opted to be more consistent in terms of my mileage, other than spiking to hit higher mileage weeks, which I will plan to do for Chicago. Mine was all about trying to get consistency at that sort of 40 towards 50 miles a week, and try and do as much of that as I can. Because of Brighton, it sort of not messed me up, but I was like sort of second guessing how I was going to do it. So I went for consistency of volume over anything else, because again, Chicago's what I'm aiming in for, not like London or Brighton. So I was just looking to consistently hold mileage. But so go back to your point. And so I've dropped down to 25 because it's 50% of my peak mileage. That's roughly how I work it out, roughly. And then I will scale that down. So yeah, it'll be about, this week will be 22 miles, I think, which I can live with. As I said, I was aiming for 25, hence the 3 today that I missed, but I can live with that because I listen to my body. And that's a message to all of you, really, is to listen to your minds, listen to your bodies, listen to your legs. The taper's there for a reason, so listen to it. And then next week I'll get out, and I'm running to time, not distance. So 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever I feel like I need. I won't run 6 times. I'll probably run, actually, I usually run about 8 times, but I'll probably run about 5 times. And I'll probably do about 10 miles. We've got Easter weekend. And then obviously I've got to fly to Boston. So I'll probably pull my sort of longer run, which will only be about 10 miles. But like you, basically 16K. And then that sort of sets me up for London, really. And then race week, I'll just cock about and do whatever I feel like doing. I've got race week. I'm never, I don't know about you guys, but I never feel like under pressure to do anything. Like I like to go out and do 30 minutes with, like, I don't know, a mile of goal pace or something, but it's not really going to make too much difference to what happens on the day. So I just feel like it depends how I'm feeling, more mentally than anything else, than physically. Because physically, I'll probably be, the taper would have like really worked a treat by then. But me, it's more how I'm feeling in terms of my neurodivergent brain, where I am. I could be killing people, or I could be like the happiest person to be around. So I don't know what you're going to get that week. So that will much depend on
taper really messes people up. And people that are doing London that are on taper now, 2 week, whether you're doing a 2 or 3 week one, best advice I could give to any of you: literally just follow exactly what your plan tells you to do. Unless obviously you're feeling injured or anything else, then do what your body tells you to do. But don't think to yourself, oh, I've only got 3-4 miles on this run here, I might do a bit more. Honestly, it's not worth it. It's there. The plan's written, knowing what it's doing.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you want something like a runner plan where they get you to run and do like stupid miles when somebody's been injured.
Oh, what's Marissa doing tomorrow?
And I wouldn't listen to that because it's just AI. It's just not right. So don't listen to that crap.
Do you know what you need to do a show on? Marathon Blues. The amount of people
we've done it, haven't we?
You need to do another one.
It comes up on a regular basis. Yeah, I think we have actually done a show way back. Probably was in the early days of the.
You need to do a new one.
Yeah,
loads this week.
It's definitely.
Well, I tell you, everybody's got Marathon Blues, right? This is the easiest solution you're going to get.
How are you going to say?
What?
Go sign up for another marathon.
No, actually, no. I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you all. I'm being serious, yeah. I put some thought into this. Get on our email list. What's coming out? I'm telling you now. All right, it costs you a few quid, but it'd be worth it because what I'm bringing out in terms of coaching next week is probably what you all need to do. All right. And if you don't do it through me, go and find somebody else to do it. But I'm telling you now, get on the email list because there's a little cheeky special offer coming and it will kick-start you out of those Marathon Blues. So if you are got Marathon Blues, stop this podcast now because my internet's going to crash and go and join our mailing list for next week. All right, I'm telling you now, honestly, I'm putting it out for a reason because I know that people need this. I'm like feeding the doves, pigeons, whatever it is. Right, that's it. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. Firstly, that we can see Al because all his lights have gone off.
It's getting dark.
Secondly, that Marissa has managed to get through this with shin splints. It's remarkable. Hayden, we better go and find our passports for next weekend. We don't want to get to the airport and not have those because that'd be embarrassing. Hayden, should I fly my Brighton top?
Yeah, why not?
When I come back, I'm going to be wearing my jacket. And I think that's
jacket looks really nice, to be fair.
So it does. I can't wait. But I've gone extra small. I don't know whether. And last thing is, we are not here next Friday. Whose dog's that? Is that yours, Hayden? Yes. So if you're listening to this, it's dog bark. It's Hayden's dog. We're not here next Friday. It's Good Friday. We're all in Boston, but we have one of the. And I'm not making this up for once. Genuinely, I think it's one of our best podcasts we've done. If you're running the London Marathon, listen to it. It's also out as usual on the YouTube channel, but listen to it. It's brilliant. It really is. We recorded it in the studio. I edited it out, and it is phenomenal what's in there. So make sure you listen to that. I'm live on Monday. If you've got some of those coaching questions, join me live on Monday at 8 o'clock. I will be around to answer those. I think that's about it. Thanks, team, for joining me tonight. I appreciate you taking the time for doing that. And yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. If you're running Paris this weekend, good luck. Otherwise, I shall see you all in Boston.